In today's video, I'll show you how to make sweet and colorful Peeps-inspired ornaments using salt dough. The perfect addition to decorate your Easter tree.
Welcome, my pretties, to the Awfully Sweet channel.
I'm aiming to recreate the classic look of Peeps marshmallows as closely as possible using a variety of Easter colors. For the salt dough, I'm using 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of finely ground salt, and 3/4 of a cup of warm water. I start by whisking the flour and salt together in a large bowl. Then gradually add the warm water. Since my dough felt a bit dry, I added extra water, maybe a little too much if I'm being honest. I knead the dough for a couple of minutes to fully combine the ingredients and get a smooth, workable texture. I find it easier to work in small sections at first. I then transfer the dough onto a parchment-covered cutting board and knead the smaller pieces together into one cohesive ball. My rolling pin is set to 10 millimeters or 3/8 of an inch, and I roll out half of the dough as evenly as possible, working from different angles to get a consistent thickness. I wanted my ornaments to match the design of the dough cutters I bought for my son, but since those are super tiny, I sketched the same designs and printed them larger on cardstock paper, perfect for ornament size. These 2 designs are available for free on my Facebook page. The link is in the description box. Using small scissors, I carefully cut around each shape. I then place the bunny cutout on the flattened dough. I cut around the design with a sculpting tool that resembles a plastic knife. I repeat this step until I run out of space on the dough. I then remove the bunny shapes from the excess dough and sometimes go over the edges a second time with my tool to make cleaner cuts. I also gently lift the shapes from underneath to ensure they don't stick to the parchment paper. To refine the edges, I use a small blade similar to an X-Acto knife, trimming away any extra dough to sharpen the silhouette. With a small round clay cutter, I make a hole for the hanging loop centered in the ear section, right between the 2 ears. I repeat all of these steps for the cheek shapes as well. For those, I place the hanging hole slightly off-center to the left near the top, leaving room for where the eye will go. Once all of my ornaments are cut, I place them on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. I preheat the oven to 200 degrees Fahrenheit and bake them for 2 hours to help them dry. After that time, they still look pretty wet. Also, I wasn't able to cut all the ornaments in one day. Some had air dried for over 24 hours before baking, and you can definitely tell they are drying unevenly. We're making plenty of mistakes on this channel, so please learn from them and do it better. The backs of the ornaments also stayed quite moist. These bunnies are slightly thinner and they were able to dry a little bit more. I popped everything back into the oven for an additional hour. After 3 hours of baking and allowing them to cool, I use sandpaper to smooth the edges and tops of each ornament. This step made such a big difference in the final look, giving them a much more polished finish. While sanding, I noticed some ornaments were still not completely dry inside. I baked all of them one last time off camera on the tray of a small countertop oven for 2 more hours. This way, the dough was drying underneath as well, and this seemed to do the trick. Looking back, I think I may have added a little too much water to my dough, and the fact that these ornaments are thick didn't help. Once everything is dry and sanded, I use a paintbrush to remove all the sanding dust from each piece. I also use a tiny paintbrush to clean out the hanging holes. There is more residue than you'd expect. Next, I apply 2 coats of gesso to the front and 1 coat to the sides and back of each ornament. Gesso helps the paint stick better to the surface and also makes the colors appear brighter and more vibrant. I'm using sun yellow acrylic paint to color 3 of my bunny ornaments and all of my chicks ornaments. To give the paint a more opaque and textured finish, just like the real Peeps marshmallows, I mix in a bit of white pearl metallic paint, 2 tiny spoons of baking soda, and 1 tiny spoon of white sand. This gives the paint a beautiful sugary look and feel. This is the base recipe I use for all my colors, so from here on out, I'll just mention the paint shades to avoid repeating the process each time. Once everything is mixed well, I adjust the color as needed, then apply 2 or 3 coats to each ornament, starting with the edges, then the back, and saving the front for last. I'm using Tutti Frutti, a fun, vibrant pink for the next set of 3 bunnies. I then move on to Petunia Purple. I chose Tropical Blue to make the light blue bunnies. Pure Pumpkin, one of my favorite colors for the orange bunnies. Finally, I'm mixing 2 different shades of turquoise for the last bunny ornaments. Feel free to play around with your own color combos until you find the perfect Peeps-inspired palette. I transferred brown dimensional fabric paint into a small squeeze bottle with a precision tip, which makes it much easier to paint the tiny facial features with control and accuracy. Before starting, I used a pencil to lightly mark the position of the eyes and nose on each bunny ornament. This step helps keep them consistent because, let's be honest, freehand isn't my strong suit and I'm all about saving myself the trouble. Using the squeeze bottle, I gently and slowly fill in each tiny circle with paint. I can always go back and add more if needed. I repeat this process for every bunny. For the chick ornaments, I use the same approach, first sketching a small oval with a pencil on the right side of the head area. Then I carefully fill in each one with the brown dimensional paint to finish off their little faces. Once the paint is completely dry, around 24 hours later, I'm using matte Mod Podge to seal the ornaments. I mix it with a generous amount of diamond sugar dust glitter to create that sparkly sugar texture. I add in enough glitter so that one coat of Mod Podge provides full even coverage across the entire surface. Just like with the painting, I apply it in stages, starting with the edges, then the back, and saving the front for last. Each ornament gets one solid coat to both seal the paint and give it that sweet, sparkly finish. This step makes all the difference in my opinion. The glitter really captures that sugary finish, and it beautifully reflects the light when you slightly move the ornament in your hand. I'm obsessed. The final step is adding the hanging loops. I recommend using threads or strings that matches the colors of your ornaments, but feel free to use what works best for you. I personally used friendship yarn skeins, though embroidery floss would work great too. Off camera, I cut each piece to about 9 inches long. To attach the loop, I fold the thread in half and tie a knot at the loose ends. Then, starting from the front of the ornament, I pass the folded end through the hole. You can use a small tool to help. I used a plastic needle to make it easier. Once the loop is through, I pull the knotted end through the opening and gently tighten it to secure. I repeat this process for each ornament with its matching thread. And with that, the Peeps Saldo ornaments are now complete and ready to be hung in your Easter tree. I hope that you liked this tutorial and that you feel inspired to make your own. If you made it this far and enjoy seasonal DIYs, please be sweet and leave me a little treat by clicking on my pumpkin bell to subscribe to the Awfully Sweet channel. Don't forget to hit the bell notification to know when a new video comes up. There is always enough room on my broom for another crafty ghoul. Thank you for hanging out with me. Have a fabulous day. Bye.